Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon again, folks. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels, and we're going out there. Blah. Blah. I can't talk. Going back to that horrible world known as the JRC. But before we do, the usual disclaimers. Again, very happy that at least as of yet, Depp has not broken the internet. Because I got phone calls to make and senators to annoy. Kind of hard to do with limited cell phone, you know. But anyways, that's the only thing, folks. That's my only rant. Although I do want to take this moment because I did see the Deb interest to take a moment to be able to say, and I'm probably butchering this name horribly, so apologies in advance, but Ma Wing going out there and serving. She looked fantastic. Extremely happy for her. I just salute, ma'am. Salute. Anyways, back to the disclaimers, right? In the description box, folks, you're going to find a link to the article that the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read. It's written by NeuroClastic, a non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics, wherein they interviewed and surveyed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so-called behavior modification program. Matter of fact, the JRC doesn't want you to read that article so much. They have threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. Well, folks, NeuroClastic has refused, so you know the drill. Please read that article and share it on all your social media. Also included in there is NeuroClastic's public statement regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding, folks, in case the JRC actually sees through with their threat. Also included in there, the Ozarks first article in regards to the Agape boarding school, now known as Stone for Help boarding school situation. This is a so-called Christian-themed boarding school based out of Stockton, Missouri that takes in so-called trouble mill teens that has and pending, folks, over 21 civil lawsuits, claims, and allegations leveled against it, all which have been substantiated by the Missouri Department of Social Services, and they include the following. But before I get into that, I'm going to turn my camera so you cannot see my unfolded laundry. It's my day off. I'm allowed to procrastinate. Where was I? Scatterbrained today, folks. Scatterbrained. So, where was I? Yes. So-called Christian-themed boarding school that out Stockton, Missouri that takes in so-called trouble mill teens that has and pending over 21 civil lawsuits, claims, and allegations leveled against it, all which have been substantiated by the Missouri Department of Social Services, and they include the following: sodomy, rape, sexual assault, child abuse, psychological and emotional abuse, child trafficking, starvation, and that's just for starters. You have one former staff member arrested by the FBI, another a doctor who still lives on the premises with full access to the boys on multiple, again, substantiated claims of sodomy, rape, and sexual assault of the boys there. You have an attorney general too busy chasing after drag queens and trying and failing to defund public libraries to actually do his job. And you've got a governor that I don't think an intervention can help. So please, folks, send help and get that article everywhere if you could, please. Also included, of course, as always, the pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign, including Autistic Hoya's massive archive on the subject, Jennifer Masumba's behavioral sheet of shockable offenses, a clip out of the 7-hour ordeal undergone by Andre McCollins back in 2002, and the ever-present, self-explanatory Change.org Shut the Judge Rotenberg Center Down petition. When we discuss the JRC, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please use your headphones, alright? This channel is marked not for children for a reason. We use profanity and do speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, folks, very obviously, parental supervision is advised. Square your shoulders, folks, and prepare yourselves. Trigger warning, we are about to once again descend into the mad ravings of the lunatic mind known as Dr. Matthew Israel. You're going to hear gaslighting, victim blaming, pseudoscience, and lies, abuse and torture apologencia, all coming from a man with a massive ego and even larger God complex. So, folks, be prepared for the condescending, stupid, and special level of word salad we are about to endure today. All right? This is why kava is important, friends. Just saying. Okay, so where we left off last time. MDRI interviews indicate that students are likely to be restrained after they are admitted and before they go before a court to determine whether they can be subject to level 3 adversive treatment. These findings raise concerns that restraints may be used to pressure or coerce individuals into consenting. This has actually been proven, by the way, by Suck It, Dr. Matthew Israel, the New York report, which in fact is where this information comes from those unannounced visits, which is why, kids, we do those unannounced visits. The whole purpose for the unannounced visit, when there has been reason for concern, is specifically to find out about crap like this. We want to find the things that you don't want us to know about. It's the whole purpose why these committees are formed and why we go out there after reviewing the evidence. If you, Dr. Matthew Israel, were not doing anything wrong, then you should have had nothing to worry about and no reason to demonize New York. To me, that is as loud as saying I am guilty with a megaphone in the middle of a town square. Just saying. When a student is first admitted, he or she is likely to engage in the same dangerous behaviors that caused him or her to be rejected or expelled from prior placements, to be confined to the psychiatric hospitals or correctional institutions, to be mechanically and physically restrained or isolated at previous placements. What did I tell you in the trigger warning? Victim blaming. And Dr. Matthew Israel, he's a master at it. When I tell you, talking to those who follow me for the JD versus AH here specifically, when I tell you that people like us are extremely used to this particular type of treatment, in particular to be vilified, to be victim blamed, to have our diagnosis, among other things, used as a weapon against us, this right here is my Exhibit A. Right there. And if you don't see that watching the AH versus JD case, I don't know what to tell you, but it couldn't have been more blatant than if like, I don't know, one of them held an Acme sign. They do this so they can minimize the atrocities that are committed against us. Because if they can paint us into two-dimensional freaking Disney villains, then they can do whatever they want to us with impunity, and not a single person is going to raise themselves up and protest. Okay? It's what people like this do. It's why people like AH, like Dr. Matthew Israel, like these people in the media, it's why they target us specifically. Because we already have a target painted on our back. It's really just a matter of time. It's why they do it. And it's why the public at large are so easily persuaded to go along with it. Because no matter how horrifying it is, they can find justifications for it. No matter how insane those justifications are, they will believe it. Because these people are so goddamn good at painting us as out of control, violent criminals. When we're not at all. See what I'm saying? This is what I've been talking about the whole damn time. And just now, people are beginning to see it. But anyways, let's go on here. He victim blames them. You are hearing this, right? But they're gonna give in to the behavior, so we have to restrain them right away, even before the court gives its consent. Doctor? You are the one beating your chest about the Massachusetts state and how you're following regulations. Right here, you are backpedaling on that, sir, trying to justify not following the regulations, one of the few that the state actually has on you. It's your way to try to skirt around the rules and get a mulligan because you're once again vilifying us. Another case of vilifying us. My God, it must be goddamn Tuesday. Must be a day that ends in a Y. Consequently, restraint is more likely to be required shortly after the student is admitted than it is at later points after the JRC treatment program has begun to change the student's behaviors for the better. His idea of better, ABA's idea of better, is false neurotypicality, as I like to call it. They want the mask. They want us to wear that mask 24/7. They want us to pretend to be somebody else every goddamn day of our lives. And they don't give two shits about the damage that they cause by forcing this on us. They don't care that we burn out. They don't care that the suicide rate, particularly amongst autistics, is astronomically high. They don't care about the cost because they get what they want. And that's what they think deep inside themselves, is that that's the only thing that matters. When I say these people do not view us as human beings, this is one of my exhibits. They don't care what it costs us. But it's for the better. You're not acting like an insane autistic. You know what, doctor? I am an insane autistic. You want to know what made me insane? It wasn't the autism. It was people like fucking you. Okay? And now you get to reap the benefits of what you and this society has wrought. And I'm not even sorry. Let's read the next paragraph, shall we? Similarly, the reason that some students may have to be restrained before they go before court is that only the students who go before court are those whose behaviors are so severe that they could not be treated successfully with positive behavioral supports alone. Here we go again. Doctor, the stick and carrot routine, that Pavlovian shit that you use on those kids, is not positive behavioral reinforcement. This is what I mean when he'll use similar words to a program so that a person will just subliminally accept that this person was not receptive to positive behavioral reinforcement. But that is not what they do at the JRC. What they're causing positive is mainstream ABA, where there is still Still, hear me, still adversives used in that program. It's not the physical adversives that Dr. Matthew Israel uses, but they are still adversives nonetheless. In particular, I'm referring to the removal of affection until the person forces them to mask and pretend to be neurotypical. This teaches a horrific psychological lesson to these kids that unless we act, talk, walk like a neurotypical, that we are unworthy of affection or be treated with basic common human decency. If you don't see that, you're blind. Let's move on, shall we? Dr. Matthew Israel cannot sit there and claim that his stick and carrot Pavlovian routine is positive behavioral support, because it's not. You are treating us like dogs. I don't even like when dogs are treated this way. You are treating human beings this way. Shame on you. That is not positive behavioral reinforcement, doctor. Positive behavioral reinforcement does not have the psychological aversive of removal of affection until the parent gets what they want. Okay? Positive behavioral reinforcement is exactly what it sounds like. It is praising when the individual shows what we would call proper behaviors or proper coping mechanisms, or is using their assistive devices correctly, things of that nature. That's positive behavioral reinforcement. It does not include removal of affection. It does not include treating us like less than toddlers. It doesn't work successfully, doctor, because you, point blank, along with rest of ABA, continue to refuse to address the elephant in the room. What's causing the behavior? Solutions can come from that. But no, they'd rather treat us like we're less than animals. Such students need to be restrained in order to avoid serious harm to themselves until their behavior can be adequately treated and improved through an addition of court-authorized aversives to their ongoing program of positive rewards and occasional procedures. I will tell you again, doctor, why is all of this necessary when all you have to do is address the goddamn elephant in the room? And I'm sorry I'm cursing so much, folks. I really am. But this doctor gets on my last nerve. I will try to curb back the cursing again. I know I kind of let it get away from me today. DRC's effective treatment will quickly eliminate the need for future restraint. Doctor, that is a lie. Because whether you want to admit it or not, that GED device is the literal definition of restraint. Okay? It is a mechanical restraint. When you shoot electricity through the body, it is by its very definition a restraint, and by its very design restricts movement. If you want to sit there and try to challenge me with this, I will pull out a basic anatomy book. Don't even try me on this. All this unnecessary torture and victim blaming and aversives, whether psychological or otherwise, when it can all begin with simply getting to the root of the behavior. Because what does logic teach us? There is always a root cause. And until that root cause is acknowledged and set forward as the reality that it is. There is no moving forward. All there is acting. And unfortunately for us, unlike Hollywood stars, we don't get paid well for our acting. We're going to go ahead and close out on that, folks. We don't get very many reviews on this channel. I should say views. The few that we do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time. And as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea do hope you have a good one. Bye-bye, everyone.